Good morning. It is March the 2nd, almost spring here in Zone 9A in Florida. And you can see how happy my flowers are in my little garden walk area here. Lots of geraniums, calibrachoas, snapdragons, and pansies going along. And it has been, it finally stopped raining, and it has been 80 plus degrees, close to 90 degrees and sunny for the last 5 or 6 days. And you can see that my mustard greens and spinach and radishes that I have growing in these containers here are getting really big. I've been eating some of these mustard greens. They're really tender and delicious. And then we go over here. I'm not even gonna go into the small greenhouse because I've got it pretty much cleared out for the season because it's so hot now. But still haven't planted my new planter, but I'm gonna plant my basil and stuff in there. Probably move my chives into there as well. And then here I've up potted my little tomatoes, and they are giving off some very sweet red cherry tomatoes, and my strawberries are also putting out a lot of strawberries. So got my Mad Hatter peppers back here that I overwintered in the garden, some of this lettuce, Savoy cabbage, Napa cabbage, some snapdragons, and then here's the cabbages that I moved out from the garden to try to head up here, which they're starting to head up because they weren't getting enough sun where they were. And then I have my grow bags that we are experimenting with. I just planted these out about a week ago for our potato planting. So there's potatoes growing in there, and Amazon does have another one like this that are a 10-gallon, and they have a flap over the clear part just so you can view it. My neighbor I did send a link to her for her to buy those, to try those out. And then I have some more my lettuce growing there, and then over here I planted my cilantro and some romaine lettuce that I've got to separate out, and my wasabi arugula, and then I have some zinnias planted in that. And there is not much left in the greenhouse. I'm having to keep it open, and I've been having to move all my stuff out because it's so warm. It's starting to get stressed. So I did plant out my pumpkins, and I have Cherokee Tan, some mini fall rainbow mix, some Blue Bayou pumpkins from Hoss Tools, some Alaska Nasturtium, and some Cinderella pumpkins. And then I did get a few more seeds from Baker Creek. I got these Taffy Heritage tomatoes, which are a semi-determinate, disease-resistant red slicing tomato. It had a lot of interesting things on their website about it. The other tomato that I picked up is the Hungarian Heart. So I usually grow the pink ox hearts, but I'm trying these. They are a very large, exceeding 1 pound, firm and meaty ox heart tomato. And on the website it talked about how good they were for sauce and even for fresh eating. This is something I wasn't planning on growing, but I found this and I got super excited about all the stuff that they talked about on their website about it. But it's the atomic orange corn, and it says it is a soft flint corn from Montana, and it gets 3 to 5 foot tall stalks that produce 1 to 2 10-inch ears, and they are this orange color. So this is a shorter corn and a flint corn that I haven't grown before. Still haven't started. I got another pack of these white tomasols. I haven't started them. These Chinese string eggplant. So far the eggplant that I've got going that have germinated are the Burpee Green Night, which is a green eggplant, and like a light green, and then I've got the Turkish Orange. So I don't have any purple started, and I wanted to try these because they look like they would be good for stir fries. and bite-sized stir fry that you can just slice. So it says that these are good for raw eating, which I've never ate a eggplant raw that I liked for the texture or the lack of flavor, but they say these have a buttery, tender, that no bitter flavor, super tender gourmet eggplant that is good for raw eating. So we'll see how that goes. And then here's the Alaska mixed nasturtium. I wanted to pick up some more nasturtium because I had planted all of my the cream, orchid cream that I had gotten from them, and I wanted more. And then so down here I got some glass gem corn that from an older seed that I had left over. And then I have my atomic orange, the rest of my burlado beans. Then down here in the front I have some Waltham butternut, and then my South Anna butternut that I had a few seeds left over from last year from Hoss Tools that are coming up that did so well for me. I have another one in the house that we haven't cooked yet that I'm going to save all those seeds because it did extremely well. Honeydew melon, and then a black Hungarian pepper from Baker Creek. And I just got a few more beans out here. Got some Kentucky Wonders, some black beans from my neighbor's saved seeds, and some tender green bush. And then down here I have my Trail of Tears pole beans and some more of the Greasy Grits beans from Baker Creek. My dragon tongues still haven't come up. I have to replant those. I got some Christmas limas coming up, some more Christmas limas over there. And I have already planted out my large speckled lima that I got from the feed store. And then there's some more Greasy Grits, tender green pole beans. And this is not Amish paste. It's actually, I got these mixed up with my lemon spice jalapenos. So these are lemon spice jalapenos from Baker Creek. And then here's my daddle peppers. And I planted a bunch of squash, is what you're about to see. But I still have a bunch to plant. So I got some buttercups, some scalloped squash, my spaghetti squash that I saved from seed from the burpees. And then over here I have my Hoss Tool squash, the Gold Prize yellow squash, the Spineless Beauty, the small Wonder spaghetti squash, and the Partial Eclipse. So still have those to put out. And then I have just some lettuce, some more tomatoes down here that I have started. And then up here are my watermelons and cantaloupes, and only a couple of them just started coming up. This is the the Sierra Gold, and you can see a couple of them are starting to come up. The store cantaloupe, there's a couple of them starting to come up. This is from a cantaloupe that I bought from the store that we ate and I saved the seeds from. And then the Kajari melons are coming up pretty good. And then this is the Petite Yellow, which are not doing anything yet. And that's a watermelon. And then the sugar babies are popping up good. And then in the back we have only about one so far coming up on back there in the back for the all sweet watermelons. So here we have our flowers. I've planted out a bunch of my sunflowers and a few of the marigolds this weekend. So I just have some mammoth sunflowers, petunias, and a bunch of my different marigolds back here that I still need to plant. My blue butterflies, I got some parsley, coleus, and some gazana. And then I have all my zinnias. I haven't planted any zinnias out yet. And then down here, my peppers aren't really doing anything down here. Those were older seeds, and older seeds aren't very good for peppers. So that was kind of just a see what happens kind of deal. But I've got plenty of other types of peppers that have come up from new seed that I purchased this year, so I'm not really worried about it too much. So we'll get what we get from the peppers. Do have some green dragon cucumbers that I started again. And then there's my purple onions that I've started back there. So that concludes what's going on in the greenhouse still. Been working really hard to get everything up potted and transplanted and over here to the grow out table because it's been sprinkling and raining a little bit at night, and they just like the breeze and the open air and the sunlight and the rain that they're getting over here. So they're putting on a lot of growth, especially with it being warmer. But I just have my eggplants out here and a bunch of different tomatoes that I have, my Chef's Choice, white cherries, Dr. Wood cheese, Amish paste, canaries, Jubilee, black cherry, and got some of my Sweet William flowers, some sprouting purple broccoli, more of my peacock broccoli, lemon spice jalapenos, and some more of the peppers that I've up potted, blueberry clackamas tomato, and here's my temptress sweet corn, and that corn germinated so fast it was remarkable. Within a day or two it had started popping up. So that's my quad sweet corn from Hoss Tools that I'll be planting in my garden, doing a few little Three Sisters deals here and there. And I'm not going to do a whole giant bed just full of corn like I did last year, because it didn't work as well as it had for me in previous years, and planting, little clusters here and there. So we're going to plant them with some beans and some cucumbers, or beans and squash, and little areas here and there. See how that works. And this is just the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that came up beside my chicken yard that I grabbed up. And then here is some more Cherokee wax bush beans that I've got to get in the garden, and more tomatoes, nasturtiums, more basil and sunflowers that I've got to get planted out, and then a bunch of peppers that I have up potted. And I just used these little plastic containers from those containers that you saw my cantaloupe and watermelon growing in. I just pulled those little cell trays out and put them in this flat, and they fit, 6 of them fit in the 1020 tray. And this tray does have holes in the bottom of it to let the water go through, which is important when you're out here in the open and it rains. And I got a bunch of leaves falling in there. But that is my hardening off table and what it looks like right now. It is slam full of stuff ready to go into the garden. So here's my beds that I got going here. We've been eating a lot of pineapple, so I just stuck that pineapple right there to see if it will grow in the ground. Since we will have a long season of hot weather coming up, it may actually do what it needs to do. And then I have some sugar snap peas that I've planted right there. My sprinkler does hit this area, and they do have fencing and that old hibiscus root right there to grow up. And I just had some extra ones I wanted to plant for later. I got my salvia growing here, some lilies, and I got amaryllis and some walk-in irises. And I also, right here, I got a little offshoot that was rooted off of my red climbing rose that's on my arbor, and I just clipped it off. It had roots attached to it, so I planted it over there. And then right here, I just got a white snow climbing rose, so hopefully that will do good right there. And then here's what these planters are looking like. Very happy, filling out salvia, and lobelia is the purple one, and then some buttercream pansies. So I really love how those containers came out. And then on this side I just have some more salvia, some more lilies. I did plant a couple of the purple blauhide pole beans right there, and then the rest is just salvia. I do have a red rose right there that somebody gave to me with those ferns that I'm trying to train. And then right here, growing up my garden archway, is my red rose that I've had here for several years. And I did have a yellow one on the other side where I planted a white one, but it never thrived. You can see it's coming out right here, and it just had that little one coming off the bottom, so I was able to clip it off and plant it with the roots attached to it over there. So hopefully I will get another climbing red rose on my chicken fence. And so here is my rattlesnake pole beans that are happy right here. I did have a couple of the yellow wax and the royalty purples that germinated, just a couple of them that I planted there. I'm wanting to plant the rest of my Cherokee wax bush beans here and some dragon tongue beans, but I gotta get those dragon tongue beans to come up. So in this bed, I just have carrots and a few rutabagas, and then I have some turnips and beets and baby chard, and then these are the ultimate carrots that didn't come up, so I might plant some more turnips right there, or beets, I'm not sure. Nothing in this bed yet. My cabbage and kale back here are continuing to try to head up back here. They're looking really big and pretty. Now they just need to get the energy to head up. My kale's also growing pretty good. You can see my dinosaur kale back there. And then my cauliflower and romaine lettuce back here. But the cauliflower is starting to head finally. And it took a while to happen because they were in the shade. They weren't getting a lot of sun. But in the long run, it's going to help get them to be able to finish heading out before they bolt from the heat. So in here I just have my watermelon radishes and some carrots. I got a pretty good sized carrot going here. These are the Danvers carrots. And then in this tire here I have some sugar snap peas, which are finally making some peas. And then we'll just continue down this row here. We got some more carrots that I planted on Christmas Eve right here, and then some more I planted on January 15th there. These are pelleted seed gold nugget from Hoss Tools, and these are Yellowstone pelleted seed from Amazon. More sugar snap peas right here that are putting on peas finally. And then this container, I moved my Havasu hot pepper in. More peppers in here. These are habaneros and jalapenos and a banana pepper. Nothing in this bed yet, or that bed. And I'm still in the process of moving this bed, taking it down and rearranging it and putting some rows in. So here's my onions. And I actually planted some of the Busy Bee sunflowers here. And the onions are doing good. See my dill growing good right there. And then the strawberries, a few of them rotted because it was so wet for so long, but I still got some coming. And then I got some more onions growing here, some more sunflowers I planted there. And then in this back area I have my potatoes. These are my Kennebecks, my red Pontiacs, and then my Aldi potatoes. And then you can see my grow bags back here. Then I have lettuce growing in that thing. And I have not cleared out this big U-shaped bed yet. And then that's my berry bed back there. I got to weed and mulch. But that's what's going on there. And here we have our tomatoes. So I just mulched this with leaves from my yard. But I did grow some Chianti hybrid sunflowers here. And then I have these, I interplanted some nasturtiums. You can see a nasturtium there and down there. And I also put some marigolds in between each one of these tomatoes. And I just have some Roma tomatoes that are determinants, and then some indeterminate, Chef's Choice, Canary, Cherry, and Dr. Witchy. I have a purple, Cherokee purple right there. And then some more of the Romas, Dr. Witchies. I got a Celebration, which he's doing better since I put him over here and started mulching. And this is a sucker that I got off one of my burpee big boys over there that I planted, and he's finally got some roots. He's starting to grow. And then that's a German Queen that I got from the store, which I've never tried the German Queen. So interested to see how that goes. Here I got some potatoes that I planted out in November. Some more potatoes I planted in November. And then here's a bag that I planted on January 23rd. And this is my first tomato bed that I put in. And this tomato this tomato and that tomato are from the fall, from late fall that I planted, that I overwintered by keeping them covered with the row cover sheets. I just wrapped them up every time that it had a hard freeze, and they made it. And so then I have a few store-bought tomatoes that were ahead of mine. I got a Parks Whopper, and then I have some determinants that I started in late fall, which are the Rutgers and the Romas that are in here. And this one's getting beat up by my sprinkler because it's right behind it. And then here's the big beefsteak, which I took a large sucker off of it because it already had 3 heads going right here. And I planted it in another part of my garden. I'll show you, but he is happy. I just fertilized these with some kelp, fishing kelp and microboost a couple days ago, and I thought that these would just fill up with flowers because of how old they are, but they haven't. But my Romas have. And these are the Romas that I started my greenhouse that are a little bit younger than these. I'm going to take this one off because I don't like stuff to touch the ground here. It needs airflow. But yeah, so this Roma, which these are determinate types, so that helps. They're a little bit shorter day, a shorter time frame for that they grow. So the Romas have got the first flowers of the season, and this big one over here, this hybrid beefsteak, it had some flowers on it and grew a little fruit about a month ago, and I picked it off because we were still in winter phase, and I wanted it to continue to grow. So pretty soon it'll get some flowers, but I'm really happy that these 2 Romas have put on flowers. And then this Early Girl also has some flowers on it. This is a hybrid, Bonnie's Early Girl hybrid from the store. So these 3 tomatoes right here are doing the best as far as getting with the program. I see where they're about to start putting flowers on some of these other ones, but they haven't yet. And then, well, right here, the Parks Whopper, it's got a flower growing on it. So the Parks Whopper and the 2 Romas and Early Girl are starting to put on. So if we turn back around, in this bed here, I finally got it cleared out, and what I did was I took the trellis from here and moved it to here for my tomatoes. That way I could cover this. And what we have is we got some tulle, and you can buy this on eBay in large rolls for really cheap. And then I have these little trellis things in here. I bought a 10-pack from Amazon for about $20, and they just help hold the row cover up off the plants. But this is my squash, or the first bed of my squash, and what I have found out, last year I covered them with the row covers and it had a greenhouse effect, but it's been so hot I was afraid to use the row cover on these guys, just because I was afraid they would get too hot. But so I used the tulle, but the main thing is this will keep the moths from laying their eggs on my squash until I have to take it off whenever they start flowering. So this will give them more of a chance to get up and get big without having a bunch of vine borers and pickle worms and all kind of crap, getting into them right off the bat. So this worked for me last year, and it was the first year that I grew squash, and I did it after years of trying. I decided to start it super early and to cover it up, and that's what we have done here. And I have the in this end of the row I have the Baker Creek buttercup squash, and then in the middle I have my North Georgia candy roasters right here, and then the rest of it is my burpee spaghetti squash. So we will once we take the row cover off, I'll put in some more trellising back so all this stuff can climb. So here is my cucumber bed, and I've got my cucumbers going here and some white onions, and I got some sunflowers growing on the end, And down here there's a spot where my sprinkler doesn't hit, so the few of the cucumbers that were down here did not thrive when I transplanted them because they didn't get enough water. So I planted those large speckled lima beans right here, and my plan is to plant some corn on each side. And there is still a cucumber, growing here and there in this area. So this is going to be, in this little section, is going to be a little section of like a Three Sisters type thing. I'm going to have a few cucumbers, some lima beans, and some corn grow in there. And these are I didn't mention this, but these are my bolado beans grow in here. They're like a large red and white cannelli type bean. And then I have some yellow and white onions growing down there. And I've poked in some marigolds and nasturtiums. I don't have anything growing in here yet. I might put some pumpkins in there, I'm not sure. Nothing growing in this bed yet except for pepper that I overwintered. And then I have some of those calypso cucumbers. And then right here I have some more cucumbers from the calypsos from House Tools, and some of my green cabbage. I'm going to plant out those romaine lettuce right here to get those going. I did plant some sunflowers throughout here. And then the next bed going this direction is my peas. I got my onions here. And then I got my green shell peas, which are the Laxton Progress and the Lincoln peas. And then in my broccoli bed, I picked all my broccoli, and I pruned my broccoli yesterday. And picked a bunch of shoots out of here. And then at the end of this row, I have replanted my peacock broccoli that I started. And then I also have a few Savoy cabbage and a little bit of lettuce left. And then right beside the cattle panel is a row of the green noodle beans. And then coming over here by my key lime, you can see he is full of blooms right now. And then I have this bed of lettuce that we are eating on right now. And then I have some more potatoes growing here that are seeming like they are pretty happy. And then in this bed, I have my purple cabbages and broccoli. I harvested this broccoli yesterday. This is a premium crop broccoli. Got another cabbage. This is my collard greens, and I have some Kentucky Wonder beans on these little teepees growing in the corner. And then back here I have some more cabbage, and then next to the fence I have the Burpee Easy Peasy shellin' peas all the way down that row. And then I have some Kentucky Wonder beans growing next to that fence. And there are my chives. I might plant my other chives in this pot here next to it. But I have nothing else going right there. And then I'll just go ahead and do this front row real quick. We got tomatoes, some more green peas, some purple pole beans, and our mustard and spinach right there. More tomatoes growing there, more lettuce. And then in this bed right here, I planted out my Alexandria zucchini and some yellow straight neck and my asparagus. And then these two beds are still empty. And then this bed has my dwarf Peter Pan green patty pan and yellow scallop squash and white scallop squash. So that's what we got going there, and that is everything for the garden. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I will see you again next week.